this is Candy with eyes2jesus.blogspot.com, and this is June 6th, so it is time for my monthly planner tour. So what planner am I currently in for the month of June? I am continuing in a personal Luxe size Moterm. However, I am taking a break from my firm Pebble red one. Feeling more of like the browns right now. So before I show you which brown Moterm I'm in, let's go through kind of the brown family of Moterms. Now there's a lot more other shades of brown, especially in the veg tan that I don't have, and then there's the darker brown and they're pebbled that I don't have, that I don't really want. I'm good with the browns I do have, but the browns that I do have are the brown family, right? This one is a Pocket Luxe, and this is a veg tan in the color that they call honey. This would be probably my favorite brown for what I've seen in the veg tan line. The veg tan line marks up so easily. You get a drop of water on it from the rain, and it's like a spot there. It's a dark spot. It scratches up easily. So it's got its plus and minuses. I mean, distressed leather looks kind of cool, but sometimes it can just be annoying. So I kind of am leaning towards their pebbled and firm pebbled leathers more than their veg tan and then the croc. So currently I'm really feeling their pebbled leathers. Another one is taupe, and this one is in personal wide. Personal wide, Moterms, this is a personal wide Luxe in taupe, will hold the Franklin Covey compact inserts. The Franklin Covey compact inserts have the exact same hole configuration as personal and personal wide. But also you can put Franklin Covey compact inserts untrimmed in a Moterm personal Luxe if you take out the 30mm rings and put in just like the 1-inch, or I guess 25mm rings instead. Okay. And then this is probably my second favorite in kind of the brown family of the pebbled Moterms. I love this a lot. I mean, it's a close first place. It's kind of between this one and the one I'm currently in, and that's the mustard. And the mustard's very pretty. And I actually have their wallet insert in the mustard that I keep in this one as well. It's very stiff, but I like how it goes. But frankly, when I do wallet inserts, I'm more apt to go for their Traveler's Notebook wallet inserts and just punch holes in those and put those in. They're canvas and they don't take up much room, and I find them more handy. So this is a close second, almost first place in kind of the browns family. So this is one that they call mustard. It's more of a lighter yellowy brown. Oh, it's so pretty. But the one that I am in is my current favorite color in the Moterm Pebble Brown line, and that is this. And this is, they call it burnt orange. But let me see here. So I just grabbed a few Franklin Covey planners for comparison from my shelves behind me. I need to rearrange these shelves. I have more planners than I have shelves. I need to sell some. I need to give some away, and then I need to just kind of have my favorite ones out and the ones that I use the most out. But yeah, so Moterm calls this burnt orange, and here's a comparison next to a Franklin Covey Rider. So you can see shade-wise they're not too different. The burnt orange is a bit more orangey than the Rider, but it's still kind of a nice orangey brown. The Rider, by the way, is fabulous. It's an open binder. You can see there's no snap or zip in Franklin Covey. So, you know, I suggest the Rider, especially if you're doing half letter size. The Rider is fabulous. One that it's really close to in Franklin Covey is the Alex, and this is also half letter size page, and this is zip around. And you can see the Alex next to the burnt orange. The Alex is even more orangey, but they don't even have orange in the name of this color. They call this color, Franklin Covey calls this color Saddle. And so you can see them side by side. Now I am tempted and have thought about off and on getting a Franklin Covey compact zip around Alex, possibly in their dark gray color, because that texture is gorgeous and it's really nicely quality made. The Alex, the one I have there, is what tempts me so often, very often, to go into half letter size. Which is a half a sheet of a standard American sheet of paper, half letter size, and it's a 7-ring system. Franklin Covey, Daytimer, Day Runner, At a Glance all have that system. The one thing that stops me is I take my planner everywhere with me 24/7. I mean everywhere, and I do mean 24/7. You never know when you need to write something down, especially in this busy season of my life where I am a mother or a wife, a grandmother, a preacher. So I have so much going on. I need my planner at all times. Write something down. It could be a thought that I get. It could be a text I get in the middle of the night from someone. It could be various things. So my planner is literally with me within grabbing distance 24/7. And when something comes up, I try to remind myself to immediately write it down, because these things are important and we need to not be forgetting these things. You know, we're helping out other people. We're getting stuff done for ourselves. So planner is very important. So for that reason, I like to have the smallest, lightest planner that I can. I tried for months, as you saw if you watch my channel, to be in a pocket or A7 size. Oh, that size is so much fun, but it wasn't enough room. The half letter size is fabulous. The room is great. But carrying that around with it really limits what I can use for purses, or as I like to use, backpack purses. And I like to be as compact as I can and as light as I can in stuff that I carry around. So the compromise seems to be the personal. And so I'm in the Moterm Personal Luxe. It has bigger rings. It has nicer pockets. And like I said, if you wanted to use Franklin Covey Compact, just take out the 30mm rings and put in 25mm rings, and the Franklin Covey Compact fits in there great. Personal Wide would stick out a bit. Personal Wide is wider than Franklin Covey Compact. But yeah, it's fabulous. And then if you want big rings and lots of stuff in a Franklin Covey Compact, but in a Moterm personal planner, then get the Moterm Personal Wide Luxe. And then remove the 30mm rings it comes with, and get yourself some 1.5-inch rings. 1.5-inch rings will fit in there, and the Franklin Covey Compact inserts will love it, and it all works. So that is something that I've considered off and on, because I do miss the Franklin Covey inserts, but they're so expensive. So yeah, so now let's get into this beauty. I just think it is so pretty. So I'm going to show you my pockets first. So front pockets, this is the configuration. In the zip pocket, I keep change. In the side pocket, I have receipts and just little doodads. In the card slots, I have an ollie clip or magnetic paper clip, and I just keep this here for when I need to clip anything. Often it's going to be a receipt or a quick note to the front flyleaf here. And then these two are just decorative. And then this is a transparent sticky notes. I mostly use this in Bible studies when I want to write things down. I'll stick this over where I'm going to write it down, and then I write the note on this. And it's see-through, so the note's written in my Bible, but it's not actually on the page. And so that's handy. And then that's especially handy if I'm writing myself a quick note before I'm getting ready to preach a passage. That's where that comes from. And then this is just non-transparent sticky notes. And this is a folded over piece of paper, and inside that piece of paper I keep Avery dots, Avery labels, and hole reinforcement stickers. The dots I use to highlight certain things in my to-dos or to bring out a certain date on my calendar, and the labels are used also to highlight certain things, or if something, its time or date may change and it's tentative, I'll write it on the label. And then if it changes, I just move the label to wherever it changed to. And then the hole reinforcement stickers, well, I'm in this planner every single day and quite often, so eventually you know, one of the holes is going to rip out on one of my pages. So the hole reinforcement stickers, I just stick that round donut-y sticker over the torn hole, all fixed, and I can keep on going. And then in the secretarial, I just keep a bit of spending cash. I think I have 2 $5 bills in there. Woohoo! Okay, and then let's move to the back pockets. In this very back secretarial, I have my mission statement, which I made years ago. I need to go through and make another one and see how different it is or how similar it is. And I use the Franklin Covey mission statement builder. You can Google that because the link moves around. So if you Google it, you can probably find it that way. And then this next one, I have some stickers because sometimes I like to decorate, most of the time I don't, but I have been decorating my monthlies, so I like to have little stickers there for that. And then this other one here, I just keep my washi card. So And again, it's for the occasional rare decorating, but also it's just plain handy having tape sometimes. Maybe I need to label something, or I need to put a sticky note on something for someone when I'm out and about, and I don't trust the stickiness of the note, so I'll use a bit of washi tape to reinforce that when I stick it to something. Card slots. This is a bookmark that I had made. It's this laminated cardstock. So I have it in here in case I need to stick this bookmark anywhere in my planner if I'm flipping back and forth between something or I need something marked. And then meanwhile, this bookmark sitting here covers up most of my card slots, which keeps my cards fairly anonymous so that when I'm opening up my planner in public, people aren't seeing my cards. So it's just a little added bonus keeping it there. As for pens, I'm right-handed, so I use the back pen loop the most. And I don't even know what pen this is. I like it. I actually already ran out of ink in the first one I got. This is the second one I got, and then I recently just bought another 2-pack. It's a zebra pen, G402 0.5 millimeter. The pen body feels great to write with. It fits well in the planner. It looks nice in the planner. The retractable works well, and it writes like a dream. It glides nice. The ink is even. It doesn't skip. It's not scratchy. It's just, yeah, so this is now my new current favorite pen. It's great. They're not very cheap. There's a lot more pens that are much cheaper, but I really like these. I just hope I don't run out of ink very quickly in them, or I'll have to rethink that. So that's a pen. Then my secondary pen I have in the pen loop on the fly leaf that comes with the planner. And this is a ballpoint pen, and it was this from a package of ballpoint pens that I had gotten a while back on clearance at Target. And it writes well. So when I need to fill out forms or sign things or write checks, etc., ballpoint pen. And then plus if I'm out and about and my main pen runs out of ink, I've got a ballpoint pen, so I can keep using that until I get home and then put another pen in. All right, and then the Moterms come with a big back pocket. That's what drew me to Moterms initially. I think that's what drew most people to Moterms, is we like the big back pocket, but the inconvenience and the expense of Vanderspeck and Gillio scares a lot of us off, right? So years ago when I found Moterm on Amazon. I mean, I got their very, very first generations Moterms. They were really floppy. I mean, really floppy and soft. Maybe one of these days I will show a tour of those. I have sold some of them, but I've kept my favorite ones. And I have also their floppy ones that were 2-colored. Where it was one color leather on the outside and a different color leather on the inside. Like my favorite one from those, I think, was the one that was black on the outside and red on the inside. So yeah, I have those. But yeah, I got the Moterms because the back pocket. And you can take a regular letter size sheet of paper, fold it in half once, and it fits back here just fine. So that's another thing about the versatility is I can take full-length sheets of paper. My husband had a dentist appointment yesterday, and so he brought home and showed me his dental plan for upcoming work. So now I have that folded in half and stored in the back of my planner so that we can reference it and so that we don't lose it. So yeah, I'll keep papers like that in there. I will stick the church bulletin back there when we go to church if there's some things on there that I need to write onto my calendar later. I put bills back here that I get in the mail that are waiting to be paid and that I might need to access for account numbers and such. And then I have some Bible study notes back here, and yeah, it's just random things. So I occasionally go through my back pocket to kind of clean it out because things can build up. Yeah, very handy. All right, and then the other pockets are in the fly leaf. Okay, so when you open it up, it comes with one slanted pocket. Now, the earlier fly leaves had credit card slots. I believe it was 3, or it might have been 3 and then a pocket at the bottom. I don't recall. But yeah, these newer ones, it's just one slanted pocket, which is fine. And in that pocket, these are also labels, but my main labels are the more of the rectangular ones. These ones are round. And the round labels I mostly use for when I want to quickly make a little sub-tab somewhere. And then you're going to see multiple sub-tabs from these in my planner. All right, and now let's get into the content, right? So the very first page, this is on hard plastic. This was one of the old Michael's personal size recollection dividers and that I had for my stash. I cut off the divider tab and then I decorated it up, and then I put on a journaling card on here. And this journaling card was part of the set from Cultivating a Good Life set. And I love it. So all of my journaling cards in here and my dividers in this and this cover here are from the Cultivating a Good Life set. This one is my very favorite one. It says, part of cultivating a good life is knowing that no matter what happens today, you have control of your outlook and attitude. And these are Project Life journaling cards. Do they still make those? Does that still exist? I don't know. But I have these. I have a couple of sets of this because I liked it so much. I wanted to make sure I had a couple. And then on the other side of this, you could call it a front page lifter because it does help my pages stay put and not wrap around the rings in the front. On the other side, I have some Post-it grid paper, sticky notes. And I just love that I can come here and jot things down. These are currently just some Bible notes of some things that I'm studying. And when I'm done, I can just take this off, or if it's relevant to another section, I can just take it off and stick it wherever I want. So I like to keep some of these up here. And then this page is a couple's picture of my husband and I. We've been married for 25 years. So we took this picture on our 25th wedding anniversary, thus my silver dress, because that was our silver anniversary. And then we also celebrated it with some silver tequila. It was all very silver themed. It was a getaway, just he and I. And then I have a little top tab on that, and we'll see why in a moment. But if we turn to the other side is a picture of my family. We take family pictures. We try to every Thanksgiving. So this was from the previous Thanksgiving. And I have the top tab on this page because right after this page is my grocery list. And so that way, if I need to just write something on my grocery list, I can just open my planner, grab the tab, flip it, and I'm immediately to my grocery list. Now, my grocery list, I have several sheets of paper here. And my grocery list, they all have a number at the top inside a square. Pages are numbered 1 through 4 with the occasional page 5. And that goes with my budget section where my husband gets paid. He's currently been getting paid weekly. So when he's getting paid weekly, then my numbers are 1 through 4 with occasional 5. In the past, when he's been paid bi-weekly, then it would be 1 and 2 with an occasional number 3. And so these are basically numbers for the checks that we get through the month. And then I have in my budget section reoccurring expenses and bills and which check they are assigned to. And then that's all numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, the occasional 5. And then I am correlating that to the grocery list. That on some checks we have more money where we get bigger, more expensive groceries. On other checks we're tighter, so we have bigger bills, so we get smaller groceries. So that's why I have the little numbers and they correlate. And so I'll write ahead some things that I like to get with each specific check number, and then I'll write them, you know, on its appropriate number. So it sounds kind of complicated, but it's my own system. It works for me. It's just part of my budgeting system, and it's to help make sure that if we're on a tight week, that I'm not getting really big groceries on that week, so that we're not very tight. And then when we have more of an open week, that's when I can get the big groceries and the big items like toilet paper, which is like buying gold. That's so expensive. Okay, so then we come to my dividers. I have 6 dividers in here, and these are Filofax dividers, and they're plastic. I love it. They're not wearing out. When I make my homemade laminated dividers, I have to re-laminate them. Well, I have to run them through my lamination machine every few months, or they just start curling up and getting ratty. If you use cardstock dividers, your holes can start kind of tearing out or getting worn out, so then you have to reinforce those. The plastic dividers, they're thin and they are durable. So yeah, I'm using these. Got them off of Amazon. I think I got them for like somewhere between $6 and $9. It was a good deal. All right, so my first divider is labeled home, and all my dividers are labeled via a label maker that I got for Thanksgiving a few years ago. You can see it in one of my past Thanksgiving vlogs. And so the first divider is labeled home, and it looks like this. And this is this page on here. It says my Christian supplications page. That used to be in the front of my pocket planner, thus the holes. So I just taped it on the here. But here you can see a comparison of the pocket size versus personal size right there. All right, so my Christian supplications. These are scriptures to read that I read if I'm having a lot of stress or anxiety or I just need a reminder. And they say, because of this I say to you, all whatever praying ye do ask, believe that ye receive, and it shall be to you. That's Mark 11:24. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice. Philippians 4:4. For nothing be anxious, but in everything by prayer and by supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God that is surpassing all understanding shall guard your hearts and your thoughts in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:6-7. And we have known that those loving God, all things do work together for good to those who are called according to purpose. Romans 8:28. And lastly, I have, and whatever we may ask, we receive from him, because his commands we keep, and the things pleasing before him we do. And this is his command, that we may believe in the name of his Son, Jesus Christ, and may love one another, even as he did give command to us. 1 John 3:22-23. Those are in the Young's literal translation. Another translation I very much enjoy is a NRSVUE. So I might, at some point when I read this page, I might put these in that version. I don't know yet. Okay, so going inside home, first page we have is my daily tasks, which my life has been very busy, so they get changed and altered a lot. So these are my current daily tasks. And it's just my daily cleaning chores pretty much. And then the next two pages after that are projects. This is my deep cleaning and organization projects that I rotate through when I have the time to get that deep cleaning done. And then the next two pages after that's my master grocery list. And I reference this when I'm making my grocery list. It helps remind me if I'm forgetting something. And I have a little flag sticking on the top because if I grab it and turn it, it brings me to my menu for the week. I plan out our breakfast, lunches, suppers, and their sides, usually the day before I plan to get groceries for each week. And then in helping me plan those out, I need meal ideas so I can plan them out quickly. So this is a list of breakfast ideas. And then I also have a list of lunch ideas and supper ideas. And those also have suggested sides to go with those meals. After that, these are my Thanksgiving and New Year's menus because I'm usually the cook for those. And then after that, we come to a page. It says table of contents. And I got a little side tab here. The rest of my home section or my homemaking section are recipes. And those pages are numbered and they're in sections. And so then my table of contents just shows the names of the sections and what page number each section starts on. And then each section, the recipes are in alphabetical order. So I can turn to my recipes rather quickly. Okay, so my next divider is labeled kids, and it looks like this. So this is my children's section. It used to be my homeschooling section, but now I'm down to homeschooling just one, and she's about to start her senior year in homeschool. And then I'm done with homeschooling, except maybe occasionally helping to homeschool my grandchildren. So now I'm down to just homeschooling one. We're getting ready to move into her last year of homeschool, so I don't need this big homeschool section. I'm not homeschooling 4 children anymore. So now it's labeled kids. And the journaling card on this divider says, part of cultivating a good life is being conscientiously and proactively aware of how blessed we are. And you see I have a little paper clip there. It's because the first page in here I just have paper clipped here so that when I open my divider, it opens up to a week on 2-day spread undated. I'll show you a blank one in a moment because these are pretty. These are, I think they're Agenda 52 from Hobby Lobby in their personal size, or an older Michael's Recollections personal size. I've had these for years in my stash. They're slightly wider than personal, so I just trimmed them a bit more narrow so they didn't stick out past all my other inserts and popped them in. And this is this week on 2-page spread is where I keep track of my children's work schedules, of my teens' work schedules. My adult children, I don't really need to track their work schedules unless they're borrowing my car because their car broke down or whatnot. So that's why I keep track of their work schedules. And then I have some homeschool notes for my soon-to-be 12th grader and then some other notes that I keep on the kids and things that I track and information for them. And then after that, I have several more sheets of undated blank week on 2 pages for when I need to change up the work schedules, or when my original one, if it gets too written on and I need to write a fresh one. So they look like this. So they're pre-decorated, which is really cute. And that's all for my kids section. So my next section is labeled budget, and it looks like this. And the journaling card here says, part of cultivating a good life is appreciating where you live. Sure, there are other places you could be happy, but be happy where you are. And going inside here, the very first page of my budget section is titled Budget Guide, and that's the page where I have the checks numbered out 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a sometimes 5, and then I have the recurring expenses and bills listed under which check number. Check number 1, of course, being the first check of the week. Check number 2, of course, being the second check of the month. Sorry, first check of the month, second check of the month, etc. Thus 1, 2, 3, 4, and occasionally a 5. And so I reference this budget guide when I am doing my budget. And my budget, I always have budgeted out at least 2 months in advance. I'm getting ready to budget out August here pretty soon. I have all of June and all of July budgeted. I like it budgeted 2 to 3 months in advance. And I budget on just filler paper. I write the date of the check I'm budgeting for, the number, is it check 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. I'll write that on the top of the page as well. And then I'll look up that check on my budget guide. I will write down the reoccurring expenses and bills that are assigned to that check. I will then look at our calendar that I have in here, my monthly calendar, and I'll see what do I or we have coming up that's going to cost additional money. Anniversary, holidays, birthdays, appointments, etc., and events, and then I will then add in, that for the budget on that check. So, and I budget ahead so that way, if we have like a dentist appointment coming up in a few months that, even with insurance might be still kind of expensive out of pocket, then I will be budgeting how much I'm taking out of which checks up till that time, so that when it's time to go to that appointment, we're not going to be strapped. We already have the money set aside to pay for that. So, yeah, my budgeting, very simple. It works for me. Yeah, I like it. Okay, the next divider is labeled planning, and it looks like this. And the journaling card on that one says, and this is probably tied as my very favorite actually. This one says, part of cultivating a good life is approaching that big, daunting task in much smaller steps. One thing at a time, one foot in front of the other. Yeah, eat that elephant one bite at a time, right? And you see I have an ollie clip on here, and that's because my month on 2 pages are not tabbed. I got used to using not tabbed month on 2 pages, which has been great because that's allowed me to move my planning section to the middle of my planner instead of it having to be in the back, because tabbed months would obscure my divider tabs that were behind that. And by not having tabbed months, I can now have my planning section wherever I want. And I've always liked having it in the middle of my planner, but if you have tabbed months, that can create problems. So I've been using, I started this in Pocket, and I've carried this over to Personal month on 2 pages without tabs. So this ollie clip just clips to the current month. So I just grab this and flip it to the current month. And I am using Filofax dated month on 2 pages. And it's great. And like I said, I do decorate my monthly pages, not always, but I have for the past 3 months, I think, or so. So here is my June. So some washi tape, and I got some bird stickers on this one. And so yeah, and you see I have some of my labels and some of my dots marking things, making things stand out. In the sidebar here is actually where I track menstruation information, cycle lengths for at least 3 months back, dates when each cycle started, how long the menstruation was, usually it's going to be 5 days for me, etc. And then I'm also tracking it on my calendars. I also write down the predicted day the next one is going to start, etc. So I've been tracking that for many years, and now that I'm perimenopausal, it's been very, very helpful. I've also for years been tracking my headaches, and that's when I found out my headaches 99% of the time are correlating with where I'm at hormonally, that when my estrogen dips in my hormonal cycle, the headaches come on, and that's been fairly consistent. So I track things with little letter codes inside of squares and circles at the top of the boxes for specific health things for me that I've been tracking for years. That's just been very helpful, and knowing where I'm at with my health and seeing how so much of it is actually tied into what my hormones are doing, like the headaches, bathroom habits, all of this. It seems to connect into where I'm at with my hormones. So yeah, and then of course I'm writing future events coming up and using those labels and dots to make certain things stand out. So now my page finder brings us to today. And I am using day timer, dated, day on 2 pages. Just standard day timer. It's the exact same size as personal size and way cheaper than Franklin Covey compact size, which I'd have to trim to put in here, or I'd have to change all my insert sizes and my rings if I were to do Franklin Covey. And I got this for under 20 bucks, free shipping off of Amazon, as to where, you know, Franklin Covey, you're looking at 50, 60 bucks for a day on 2 pages, and the paper quality is not any better. But the day timer day on 2 pages is horizontal as to where the Franklin Covey day on 2 pages and the at a glance day on 2 pages are usually vertical. So vertical meaning that the main page will be divided into 2. One side will be for your to-dos, the other side will be timed appointments. This one is horizontal, so I have more room to write out this way, but I don't have columns. So here is day 1 for today. This is my page finder. And then this is my master schedule, and it's just written, and sometimes I will stick stickers on it or little post-it notes with alterations if they're going to be semi-long-term alterations. And right now it's just written out on graph paper, and it is just taped to some cardstock, and it is punched and slit. So this moves day to day along with my page finder. And I have the same thing written on the front and the back so that I can access my master schedule regardless which page I'm looking at for my day on 2 pages. And this is page 2 for today. So let me turn ahead. Okay, here's one that's blank so you can see the blank. So these are very handy. So in the day timer layout, all this up here is timed and appointment things. And then down here is where you write your to-dos and your tasks. And then over here is your notes page. So what I do is the very first thing I do when I'm planning is I come down here and I will write down my tasks. I'll look at the previous day. Anything that wasn't completed or didn't get done, I forward to here or whatever future day, if not the next day, and I'll write that. And then I will go to my calendar. I'll see what's coming up for that day. That'll give me more to write down. Sometimes something's coming up or I need to do something, I'll flip a few days ahead and just quickly write that down. For example, I already have a few things written in my Wednesday for things that were coming up. It's like, okay, I need to pick a day to get these done, so I'm just going to write them in right away. And so that's how I get my tasks. And then I leave the timed part blank until last. After I have my tasks, which I make with the check boxes are different shapes depending on different things, depending on the type of task, depends on the type of checkbox that I make. That works with my mind. So then I go on to the note side of the page, and then at the top I will write down my teens' work schedules. After that, I'll write down the planned meals for the day. After that, I'll write down my assigned cleaning for the day. At the very bottom, I write down anything I'm tracking, and that leaves me space right here and also up on the side for writing in any notes. Sometimes I'll write in some notes when I'm studying my Bible that jump out at me. I might write something down at church that I want to study further, and then these type of notes, when I do that, I'll write them on the notes page, and then I'll quickly go to my first page, and under the to-do or task section, I will put down my little square for a checkbox, and then I will say process notes. That way I know I need to handle what I wrote down in notes. I need to either set it up for schedule an appointment with myself at a future time to sit down and study it out. Or it's something that's like, okay, that's something I can process right now and then move into the appropriate section of my planner, etc. So yeah, after I do that, then I move back to the first page. Now I come up to the timed. I will write in the time slots when I plan to have for that day our breakfast, lunches, and suppers. I try to correspond it with my master schedule. My master schedule is a loose template. The times can vary on it. And then I'll write down any appointments or timed things. If one of my teens' cars isn't running, like one of my teens needs a timing belt put in his car, so that's parked for a few days, and he is borrowing one of my husband's and my cars. So that leaves my other teen who was borrowing that car needing rides now. So then I am driving that one around while that teen is saving up to buy their own car, and the teen who owns their own car is getting their car fixed. So then I would write down, okay, this is what they have. They have an appointment here. They were going to meet with friends here. They recently went to a Renaissance fair. Thankfully, they worked all that out. Oh, this is when they need to go to work, and then this is when they're going to the gym, so I need to pick them up here, etc. Then that gets written in here as well. I'll also write down appointments of other family members. I'll usually put an asterisk next to it, and that reminds me to remind them of their appointments if it looks like maybe they're forgetting. So yeah, day on 2 pages, 100% mandatory for me. In pocket size, I tried to do day on 1 page, and I felt overly stressed and too busy, and then I found out when I moved into personal, back to day on 2 pages, way easier. I just needed more space. And that's what's nice, about half letter size, is I get even more space, but the trade-off is it's big and it's heavy, and I'd have to change to a much bigger purse to carry this thing around. So that's why my compromise is in the personal. Okay, so I have those round label stickers that you saw inside my flyleaf pocket. I have 2 of them stuck together here in the back of my planning section. If I flip to it, it brings it to a filler page. At the top, I wrote 2024 plus. That's my future planning. I have 2 things currently for 2024. I have 1 thing in here for 2025, 1 thing in here for 2026, 1 thing in here for 2029. So that's where I write down the future stuff. All right, and then after that, that brings me to my 5th divider, which is labeled reference, and it looks like this. And the journaling card in that divider says, part of cultivating a good life is using your talents to serve others for no personal gain. And then as the Bible says it, don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. Don't toot your own horn. And going inside reference, the first page in reference is a table of contents because all of my pages in reference are numbered. So I'll just read to you the headings in my table of contents, and then you'll know what's in my reference section. I have gift ideas, birthdays and holidays guide, stock list, perpetual calendar, family information, codes, directions, contacts, health, and food. And that's my reference section. So the reference section is for when I have stuff that need to be in my binder, but it doesn't need its own section. Then it goes into reference, and it gets a page number and put on the table of contents. And at the very back of reference, not on my table of contents, I currently have the 7 Habits pages by Franklin Covey, and they're compact size, so I had to trim them more narrow, and I keep them in here right now. I love 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I should probably reread that book again soon. It was very neat and fun to read. So I do love the 7 Habits, so I like having their 7 Habits pages in my binder when I can. Now we come to my last and 6th divider, and that's labeled assorted, and it looks like this. Okay, and this card says, part of cultivating a good life is having a good sense of humor. Assorted is notes. It's temporary things that don't have to be in here very long, or things that don't really need to be even in reference, but that I want to have in here anywhere from a few years to a few days. Projects, ideas, brainstorms. This is also where I go if I'm taking a course. This is where I write my notes. This is where I keep my notes. And then when I'm doing that, I usually stick a little round label sticker off the side as a little tab to mark where my notes begin. So I can just flip to my notes and keep writing. And so because of that, in this section is also where I keep extra filler paper. I have filler paper in here from Filofax, Moterm, and day timer in here. And then after that, we come to my back matter, my plastics. So I have a zipper pocket. So I have like my Oklahoma quarter, Buff Birdman. It's supposed to be the Oklahoma State bird, which happens to be my favorite bird, which is the scissor-tailed flycatcher. I love that bird. They are so cute, especially watching them fly when they're scissor-tailing. So I have the Oklahoma quarter, but if you turn it up right, it looks like a Buff Birdman walking through a meadow of flowers. So here's a blown up picture of that. And I just love it. I just think it's hilarious. So I like to keep that in here. And then in here, this is a little tiny folder, and I keep some cards in there that I rarely ever need to reference, but that I like to have with me. And then behind that, I have some top loading pockets with little flaps on top so things don't fall out. And that varies what I keep in those, but I like having them in my planner. And then after that, I have a page lifter so that my pages aren't curling around the rings. And then we come to the back of the planner. So I gave a bit more of a detailed planner tour than I usually do, but you know, last month's was kind of cut short because of camera issues. I got a replacement camera on eBay. It's actually the next level down from the camera that I've been using all these years. It seems to be working fine. It's a little bit more picky on getting the files off of it. The battery doesn't last as long. I think that's about it. Oh, and it doesn't have, you can't connect into it with Wi-Fi. Other than that, it's the same as the camera that I had that broke after years of use, and I got this one for, I think it was like 20 bucks used off of eBay. So I'm going to rock it with this one, and you know, hopefully no more camera issues for a long time. So this concludes my planner tour, more detailed this month since last month it got cut off short, and I hope you have a blessed day.